Logan is a loose adaptation of the comic book story arc Old Man Logan, created by Mark Millar and Steve McNiven. The story arc was inspired by Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven and the Mad Max franchise. While the stories in both works are very different from each other, there are many similarities. The dystopian setting, a journey to get from point A to point B, and the traits of a Western are both present. And it seems that the director James Mangold had a specific visual eye for the film. First off, the writing. Like I said, while the story is different from its comic book counterpart, there are many similarities. The film's setting is in a dystopian 2029 where mutants are nearly extinct thanks to the company Transigen and the Reavers, who are a cybernetically enhanced group of mercenaries that work for Transigen. This company uses mutant DNA to inject into newborn babies, so they can grow up and be trained to become killers. This gives one of the children in particular, Laura, aka X-23, more of a connection to our main character Logan, as she is not only technically his daughter, but was going to be used as a weapon, just like Logan was at a time in his life. The main plot centers around Logan and his mission to take Laura to a safe haven for mutants called Eden that may or may not actually exist. Techniques for writing used in this film include foreshadowing, allegory, and subtext, which in the end have quite the effect. Examples of foreshadowing include a line from Charles Xavier. Nagging out Logan, Charles says,
"You're the man who puts me to sleep."
And later in the film, when our main characters spend the night at a family's farm, Logan's younger and superior clone, X-24, created by Transigen, sticks his adamantium claws into Charles's chest, which results in him bleeding to death. Another moment of foreshadowing is where our main characters go to a hotel and casino. Laura stops to look at clothes and sees two mannequins that represent a father and daughter holding hands. It's subtle, but effective, as at the end of the film, Laura holds Logan's hand as he dies. An allegory in the film is Logan's clone, X-24. X-24 is ordered to go to the farm and take Laura back to Transigen. He is faced with opposition and kills Charles and the family that lives at the farm. X-24 represents Logan's past catching up to him and bringing harm to everyone around him. Finally, there is strong subtext, which begins in a scene with the movie Shane playing on the TV in a hotel room. It is the ending scene where Shane tells little Joe,
"Joey, there's no living with a killing. There's no going back from one. Right or wrong, it's a brand. A brand sticks. There's no going back. Now you run on home to your mother and tell her everything's all right. And there aren't any more guns in the valley."
After Logan is buried by the Transigen escapees, Laura recites the lines from the ending of Shane as a eulogy for Logan.
"A man has to be what he is, Joey. Can't break them all."
This is not only an homage to Shane, but a description of Logan's life, as he was used as a weapon to kill many people, and how that life brought harm to those he cared about. But now that he has passed, no one he loves can get hurt, and he can no longer feel that pain. Second, the film style. When adapting a comic book to fit the screen, there's a small chance that there will be any realistic themes at play. Logan's style is formalism leaning towards classicism, with small sprinkles of realism. An example of realism in the film is when Logan watches a video of the nurse that breaks the children out of Transigen. The footage is taken from a phone, which adds the illusion of realism to the story. Another realistic element that adds to the dystopian setting is the company Canewood. It is referenced multiple times in the film, and is a food company with self-automated machines to do the work. One more realistic element I would like to mention are things that our characters deal with, such as the emotional strains of family relationships and old age. The premise is very formalistic, but the film follows strong dramatic story structure, which you would find in a classic mainstream fiction film. This is a character-driven drama, and very much a journey for Logan, not just physically, but mentally as he treats Laura more as an equal towards the end of the film. An expression of formalism in the film is X-24. This clone of Logan is supposed to mirror his past as a subordinate killer, and a lesson we can take from to apply to the real world, that things we do in the past can find a way to catch up to us in the future. For classical elements, the standout is Hugh Jackman. By this point, he has played the character of Logan, or the Wolverine, for 17 years, and in his last portrayal of the beloved character, he really gives it his all to emit a strong performance. Throughout the film, we see his character experience many emotions that we can relate to, so by the end, we can fully understand this human being. This is a man that has wanted to die for a long time. He has seen loved ones come and go due to his immortality, and is an old and beaten soul wishing for some peace. Referenced several times in the film is an adamantium bullet that Logan carries around. He eventually tells Laura that he was saving the bullet as a reminder for what he was, but also thought he was going to kill himself with it. So in the end, he gets what he has dreamt of his whole life: peace. To top everything off, the director. It was clear that James Mangold wanted this film to stand apart from other films of the superhero genre that had more standard plot lines. If other heroes took pride in their past accomplishments, then his would view their legacies with more despair. Mangold wanted his characters to be vulnerable and have their powers fading to get rid of that life preserver we are used to seeing our characters having. It was also clear that Mangold wanted this movie to feel like a Western. For example, Logan is our anti-hero. When the nurse from Transigen asks for his help, he refuses, but then is offered money to take Laura to Eden. Near the end of the film, he is offered more money for reuniting Laura with the rest of the children, but turns it down. Also, when thugs from the Cameron Company demand money from Mr. Munson, Logan intervenes and makes them leave. Another connection this film has with Westerns is that it's personal, which is another factor that sets this film apart from many other comic book adaptations. Films that inspired Logan include Shane, which made Mangold inject violence that was brutal, but also tender moments as well. Unforgiven, which Mangold had our main character haunted by the sins of the past. And The Cowboys, where that film's main character, played by John Wayne, dies just like Hugh Jackman. Mangold believes Westerns are pure cinema when done right, and focus on the drama at hand to drive it home for audiences. Movies like Logan don't come very often, and it's a shame that more filmmakers are not taking more risks in creativity, because there is a chance that they can add something truly unique and special to the world of cinema. In my personal opinion, Logan is one of the greatest and most effective comic book films to ever be produced, and is a movie that shouldn't be overlooked, because it is such an innovative genre that will very likely grow in the future.